Hey guys, Steve here with the strategy session for Monday, August 4th, 2014. We did a market outlook video this morning, so if you haven't already, check that out. That has a lot of thoughts on where I think the market may be going this week. But of course, that is a prediction, so it's just used as a guideline. Obviously, price is really what's going to dictate where we end up at the end of the week. But as you know, I mean, as far as the market goes, I use it as a guideline. Obviously, I don't use that to limit trades or take trades off or anything like that. Each trade is reviewed on its own merit, and that's why we actually entered a trade this morning after the action we had Thursday and Friday. There was still one trade in Expedia that we could make, and we made that this morning at the open. So we'll review that in a couple minutes. First thing I want to do is just actually take a quick look at the market. Basically, we bounced today. Last hour I guess was a little bit of a sell-off, but good to see some support coming in at this 1922 level. We tried to push below this close back here, and we actually ended up closing above it. So let's see. I mean, my initial thoughts in the weekend update, in the market outlook, were we come back up, test this bottom of the 50-day and the trend line, and then put a lower high in, and then eventually put a lower low, because I still feel that we do test this 1880 1890 level right in here, 1900, somewhere around there. I do think we end up getting a little bit lower, but again, look at the weekly chart. Here's our trend line, and we're bouncing at trend line support. So again, take it with a grain of salt. It's a prediction. It's not actually what's happening, and trade accordingly. So for our entry this morning, we did enter into Expedia. So let's find Expedia, EXPE. Let's add that into our portfolio. All right. So here we go. Expedia. We had seen over the weekend that we had this trend line higher. We had this consolidation from the previous weekend update we identified, and sure enough, on Friday after earnings came out, we ended up moving higher and closed well above this consolidation and previous high. On the weekly chart, same thing. Here was the consolidation on the weekly. We had these 4 or 5 bars of daily consolidation, which represents this consolidation right here on the daily chart. And then again, we eventually broke above it. So what we did was we put an order in, we sized our position accordingly, and we entered at the open, which our entry price was 84.46 was our entry. So of course, as the day went on, in the morning, it didn't look like such a great entry, but we were still hanging out in that top half of this large breakout bar. And then at the end of the day, with the strength that was shown in the market, we pushed higher, and we actually are profitable on the trade already. So right now, our stop is sitting 77.40, which is below this previous swing low, below trend line support, and also below the 50-day moving average. So I think that's a good spot to have your stop. You could be a little bit looser. You could have it at 76.20, but for our purposes, 77.42 will basically indicate the trend has ended and we are moving on. Our other positions, Apple was the only one. Apple and Fidelity were down on the day. Apple really just moving sideways again since the previous pullback. Now we're basically on Friday. We had some good action, and today, some not bearish, but some selling. So we're still along that trend line. That trend line should hold, or has to hold, and this 93.09 level has to hold. And again, we would break trend line support, break this previous swing low, and break 50-day moving average, and that would trigger our exit from the trade. Archer Daniel Midland moving higher again. We had another pop on Friday. Today was some continuation, really pulling back to this 50-day moving average and to this previous support level. We did adjust our stop down, I think, on Thursday to 45.22, just because that's where I do feel that we would need to break 50-day trend line and this previous consolidation support area, which was resistance. American Tower was up. Really since that nice earnings move, we've been moving sideways. Another nice day today with some higher action. Still trend line support, still intact. And again, our stop right now is right at 90.81, which is basically in a couple days will be 50 moving average will be above that. So it'll be breaking this swing low, 50-day, and trend line support. So, I mean, you could see the theme of why I'm using the 50-day. It's just really a gauge on where we should set our stops to make sure we're giving it enough room and not, too tight on the trades. Air Products came down, tested this breakout area. Looks like for right now it's a successful test. Moving higher now. If we can break out over this 136.50 area and hold a close up here, then that would probably be able to maybe move our stop to this 128.73 area. But for right now, 127 is a good stop because again, we're below trend line and 50-day moving average. This is a more accelerated trend line. So let's see, I would probably go with this trend line, the lower one, if you want to be in the trade a little bit longer. But for right now, this trend line looks like it's holding up pretty well. So that may change, and maybe, depending on the action we get, maybe we get some more sideways to allow this 50-day moving average to catch up. But let's see how that plays out. Equity residential, again, moving back down to trend line, bounced higher today. Our stop is 63.16, which again would be below this little consolidation area. Trend line support and 50-day moving average support lining up. So again, a break of that level would really signify that the trend has changed and we'll be moving on. Expedia we went over. Fidelity was the other down one for today. I still think that we come back and test this trend line and 50-day moving average. As you can see, 50-day was pretty much flat and now it's turning higher. So I would definitely want to see that 50-day hold. In the next couple days, if we can get a move higher, I think we could actually adjust our stop a little marginally higher to, instead of 54.71, we could probably bring it up to like 55.10, which would be this previous close, the lowest close of this little consolidation in here. But until then, 54.71 is fine. I think that would basically entail a break of the trend line, a break of the 50-day, and a break of this small consolidation area that happened from the beginning of July till the 14th. So I think that's a good spot. And again, if you look at the weekly, we're really just testing, pulling back, almost flagging into the weekly trend line. So I'm hoping, we get into there and then we push higher, and that would be a great spot to bring our stop up to 55.92 once the 50-day moving average kind of catches up a little bit. And the last position we have on is Wyndham. Again, consolidating, came right into that 50-day moving average on Friday, moved higher today. So, this looks like a great spot to have our stop. This would basically entail the break of the 50-day moving average, the break of this trend line that looks like it's adjusted a little bit from what we had. So there's that trend line and this swing low here. So 75.13 area is really a great spot because now we get a break. We sit a bar down here that closes something like this. Then that's obviously a trade that we want to get out of because trend is broken, 50-day moving average is broken, previous support is broken. So let's see how that plays out. So that's what you really have to look at when you adjust these stops is, where is the right spot, a couple different areas to look at, make sure you're loose enough but not too loose that you're giving up a lot of your profits, but also not too tight that you can't let the stock work and you're micromanaging it. Couple stocks that I wanted to just go over real quick that I tweeted towards the end of the day that I really like. Obviously, we went over Expedia. Hess is looking great. Nice bounce off of this trend line. I'm hoping we can get a close over this 101 or 100.5 area within the next couple days, and then we would actually be able to enter a position using this 96.79 as our stop. 96.50 maybe if we go back a little bit. But that's a great setup. I mean, right along this trend line coming in, bouncing, a move higher would be, that's a great setup to have. And like I said, 96.50 is probably be the trend line or the stop level on that. Disney really working well. Again, this was identified in the weekend update. So if you guys aren't following the weekend updates, this is where we're drawing all these lines in the trend lines and support and consolidation areas. And again, it's the basis for everything moving forward. So the weekend updates are the most probably important videos to watch during the week. And that's why we do a little bit of a longer session on the weekend when everything's calmed down, when we have our time to think about everything, go about everything logically. So again, Disney, this is the support and consolidation area we identified. We're looking for a close over 87.30, and earnings are actually tomorrow after the close. So earnings could be the pop that we want, and we may be entering a trade on this on Thursday. So let's see how that reacts. But like I said, if we can get a close over 87.30, I think great place to put a stop would be right here at this 84, 85 level. And this is actually one that I am personally long. So I'm looking to add to my position, and that's when I'm going to do it. If we can get a close over 87.30, I will be adding to my position. Western Digital, I actually looked at the diversification in the portfolio today. And unfortunately, our technology aspect or sector is fairly maxed out, so we won't be able to take a position. But if somebody that doesn't have a trade on in a technology stock, this is a great one right now. Again, depending on what you're using, if you're using closing prices, I'm using these couple tails. I'm not too crazy about seeing these 3 tails in here, so I'd like to see a nice definitive close over the 102. But again, if you're using closing prices, you actually got your breakout today, and then you can determine where you want to set your stop. You could set your stop here at 97 or 98, or you could be a little bit looser, again, bringing that 50-day moving average into play and set it down here at like 94. But again, great setup, consolidating, breaking higher off that trend line. And the last one is one that I actually am looking forward to trying to get long. Marriott. I mean, if you look at the weekly chart, look at this weekly chart here. Let's remove all these drawings. I mean, this is a great... Oh, what am I doing? That was rough. Here we go. So here's your trend line. Here's a secondary trend line down here. But again, the trend line on the weekly is higher. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Great stock, really been moving since the beginning of 2013 or 14, I should say. And now we're getting an opportunity where it's consolidating, coming into the trend line that we have drawn. Here's our stop level. Once we get a break over 66.84, that would be a great spot to get long. Earnings have passed, and we could use this 63.44 level as our stop, which also coincides with the 50-day moving average. So a lot of things lining up on this one. Great looking setup. So let's see, like I said, if we can get a move over 66.84, and then we can put our stop right down here at 63.40. All right, guys, so that's it for tonight. Tomorrow we're going to have, in the morning, we'll be doing the trade school video. Again, that'll be every Tuesday from now on. That one's going to basically just start from scratch, start at the basics. Anybody who hasn't traded, doesn't know what a stock chart is, curious how to get started, that's going to be the series you want to follow. And so that'll be posted in the morning. And then, like I said, as always, please follow me, Twitter, StockTwits, Google+. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you guys like these videos, you want them delivered directly to your inbox, I do offer a nightly recap newsletter that will send everything right to your inbox, so you can view both videos at the same time, the morning video and the evening video. And with that said, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.